In communities across America, a complex system of immigration enforcement operates largely out of public view. Today, we pull back the curtain on the tactics used by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, to detain and deport immigrants. Based on documented cases and verified reports, this is Shadows of Enforcement ICE Deportation Tactics Exposed. Phoenix, Arizona, May 2025, a routine morning at the immigration court.
My client was relieved when the government attorney moved to dismiss the case. For a moment, it seemed like good news, the end of years of uncertainty.
But as immigrants exit these courtrooms, a new tactic awaits them.
It used to be getting your case dismissed was a celebration. Not anymore. As my clients walked out of the courtroom, ICE agents were waiting. They were immediately detained under new expedited removal processes.
In cities across America, Phoenix, New York, Seattle, Miami, ICE has adopted a strategy of arresting people as they leave mandatory court hearings. The tactic exploits a legal maneuver. Government attorneys dismiss pending immigration cases, which then allows ICE to immediately detain individuals for expedited deportation, bypassing the normal court process.
What makes this tactic particularly effective is its targeting of people who are following the law, people showing up for their required court appearances. It creates a chilling effect on the entire immigration system.
Los Angeles, California, 8 a.m.
I woke up to loud knocking. Through the peephole, I saw 3 people in dark clothing. They said they were police and were looking for me by name.
Alyssa, a former DACA recipient, had recently visited the DMV to update her car registration.
They said there was an issue with my car registration. When I stepped outside to get my documents from my car, they stopped me and said, "We're ICE, not police. You're here illegally, and you're now in federal custody."
Alyssa spent 21 days in detention. Her story illustrates one of ICE's most controversial tactics, deceptive ruses.
Ever since that day, I've been afraid of talking to the police for anything, not even when I really need help. I feel like I'm being watched, and as if ICE could show up at any moment, disguised as the police again.
The ACLU has documented numerous variations of this tactic. In Chicago, Margarito Castanon Nava was driving home from work when an unmarked SUV with tinted windows pulled him over. The officers wore vests with "police" in large letters.
They never gave a reason why we were pulled over. They just asked for our driver's licenses and took our photos. When I handed them my license, they threw it on the dashboard, handcuffed me to the steering wheel, and took my thumbprints.
Margarito was detained for 44 days before being released on bond.
These tactics raise serious Fourth Amendment concerns. Courts have repeatedly questioned whether consent obtained through deception is truly voluntary.
May 2018, Chicago, Illinois. In just 6 days, ICE arrested and detained more than 100 people in an operation codenamed Keep Safe.
They saturated Hispanic neighborhoods, using unmarked vehicles to conduct what looked like routine traffic stops. They were approaching anyone who they thought looked undocumented.
These large-scale operations often employ racial profiling to identify potential targets, creating widespread fear in immigrant communities.
After these operations, we see immediate effects. Children stop going to school, people miss medical appointments. Victims of crime don't report to police. The fear spreads far beyond those who were actually detained.
Breaking news. The administration has invoked an obscure 18th century law called the Alien Enemies Act to expedite deportations of alleged gang members.
March 2025. In an unprecedented move, the Trump administration dusted off a law from 1798, used only 3 times previously in American history, to target alleged members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua.
The Alien Enemies Act allows a president to detain or deport citizens of enemy nations, but only in the case of a declared war or invasion. Its use in this context raises profound constitutional questions.
137 Venezuelans were deported under this act and sent to El Salvador's notorious CCOT mega prison. Civil rights organizations immediately challenged the action.
The government's removal scheme denies plaintiffs even a gossamer thread of due process. No notice, no hearing, no opportunity, zero process to show that they are not members of the gang.
Immigrant rights advocates noted that some deportees had no criminal record or proven gang affiliation. Some were marked for deportation based on tattoos and other unreliable indicators. In today's digital age, ICE has increasingly turned to advanced technology and data mining to identify and track immigrants.
ICE has access to driver's license databases, purchases location data from private companies, and uses sophisticated facial recognition technology. They can conduct what amounts to digital raids that are less visible but equally effective.
These methods allow for more targeted enforcement but raise significant privacy concerns for immigrant communities.
People are afraid to drive, afraid to use social media, afraid to have their photo taken. The surveillance creates a constant state of anxiety.
The scale of deportations has fluctuated with changing administrations and policies. In 2024, deportations reached a 10-year high with 271,484 people removed from the U.S., an increase of nearly 90% from the previous year.
The Biden administration achieved this through deploying additional agents and negotiating with other countries to accept deportees. The Trump administration has promised to dramatically scale up these efforts, with a target of 1 million deportations annually.
These numbers represent not just statistics, but individual lives and families affected by enforcement policies. Beyond the tactics and numbers are human stories, families separated, lives disrupted, and communities living in fear.
The fear stays with me. I feel like I'm being watched and as if ICE could show up at any moment.
The whole time I was in custody, I had very little information about when I would see a judge or what was going to happen to me. They never showed me an arrest warrant.
When people are afraid to drive their children to school, go to the hospital, or report crimes, it affects the safety and well-being of entire communities, not just immigrants.
The tactics used by ICE to detain and deport immigrants continue to evolve with changing policies and administrations. Understanding these methods is crucial for immigrants, advocates, and communities affected by enforcement actions. As debates over immigration policy continue, the real-world impact of these tactics remains a critical part of the conversation, raising fundamental questions about due process, constitutional rights, and the human cost of enforcement. This has been Shadows of Enforcement, ICE Deportation Tactics, Exposed. Based on documented cases and verified reports from the American Civil Liberties Union, USA Today, National Public Radio, and other authoritative sources.